Life waits on no one. Every challenge is an opportunity, every setback is a lesson, and every new day is a chance to rise stronger. We must take life head on with determination, resilience, and a spirit that refuses to quit. This is Jamaica Magazine, and I'm Theodore Henry. Let's take on the rest of this journey together.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, February 19, 2025. Government will not be imposing any new taxes on the Jamaican people to fund its programs for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made the declaration of no new taxes as he addressed a function in Hanover yesterday.
For the last decade, you have had a government that has not had to come to you to say, well, to give you the things you want, we have to increase your taxes. We will be presenting a budget this year with no net new taxes. And in fact, this budget will have no new taxes.
Last year, too, the then Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clarke, announced that there would be no new taxes for the 7th consecutive year. Prime Minister Holness asserts that this and other indicators are incontrovertible evidence that the country's economy is being managed in a fiscally responsible way and is heading in the right direction.
Our credit ratings are at their highest levels ever. We are just 3 upgrades away from investment grade status. After 57 consecutive years of deficits, since 1966, we have achieved a balance of payment surplus on our current account for the past 2 fiscal years. Our net international reserves reached a record high of $5.6 billion at the close of 2024. That's the highest it has ever been, $5.6 billion. Which other direction do you want the country to go?
Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Favour Williams, will outline how the government plans to fund its $1.26 trillion budget when she opens the budget debate on March 11. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is declaring that no longer will the country tolerate an exclusive tourism landscape that creates 2 Jamaicas where citizens don't enjoy the same luxuries and basic necessities as visitors. Speaking at a function yesterday, Dr. Holness said his administration was laying the foundation for a future where tourism in Jamaica is more inclusive, sustainable, and innovative than ever before.
We build resorts which it would appear that when you step off the main road and into the resort, you're in a different world. That's not the kind of tourism that we want. The entire Jamaica should look like a resort. No, it's not 2 Jamaicas, it's 1 Jamaica. And we intend to build out 1 Jamaica infrastructure that is world-class for everyone.
This, he asserts, includes consideration for the workers who service the sector.
10 years ago and beyond, we would have been announcing the development of 950 rooms. And there would be no consideration for where the workers who are going to service these rooms would live. Now we have made it clear. If you're going to build hotels in Jamaica, you must make provision for the workers.
Addressing recent issues related to the status of workers, their compensation, and conditions of work, the Prime Minister says he instructed Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett to engage the hotel sector on these matters.
To say, let us take an enlightened approach, because the tourism product is not just the lovely buildings that are going to be built. The tourism product is even more so the people who will give that warm, welcoming smile to your guests to endear them to return over and over and over again. And in the budget, either myself or Minister Bartlett will make certain announcements that I'm sure the workers are going to be very happy to hear.
Prime Minister Holness was addressing yesterday's groundbreaking ceremony for the expansion of the Grand Palladium Hotel and Resorts in Hanover to add more than 948 new rooms. The development will create an estimated 1,500 direct jobs and 2,600 to 5,700 indirect job opportunities across related industries, including transportation, agriculture, and local services. The Palladium Group is also building 550 accommodations for workers. We will find you wherever you go, is the message Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is sending to criminals who believe they can commit crimes in one area of the island and find refuge in another. While speaking at an event in St. Anne last Friday, the Prime Minister made the point that the Jamaica Constabulary Force of today was far more equipped to keep track of and root out criminal elements.
The JCF today is far more equipped and it's a different JCF. So the criminals may believe that if they live in, let's say, St. Catherine, or let's say they're coming from, St. James, that we don't know them and that the police in St. Catherine don't talk to the police in St. Anne and the police in St. James don't talk to them. In fact, those days are gone.
Far gone.
Far gone. It's one database of criminals.
One database.
And we will find you wherever you go.
Head of the St. Anne Police, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, echoed the Prime Minister's comments and gave his own warning that criminals should not expect the parish to be a safe haven for them.
Because the police in St. Anne, we are resilient. We know exactly what we need to do. We know the parish. We know the people that we serve. What we promise to do here in St. Anne is to ensure that St. Anne will be very, very safe for this year and for many years to come.
Yes.
Because we will continue to put in the programs. We'll continue to work with all the agencies of the state, plus our community-based agencies.
$700 million has been set aside in the 2025-2026 estimates of expenditure for construction to begin on the JCF's St. Catherine North Police Divisional Headquarters in the new fiscal year. The project, which aims to increase the capacity and comfort of police officers assigned to the division, is being financed by the government. A $2.2 billion contract was signed with West Indies Home Contractors Limited, WICON, on July 23 last year to carry out the construction. Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake remarked then that the project supported the transformation and renewal of the JCF.
This new headquarters in the St. Catherine North Division is more than just a construction project. It is a tangible step in the ongoing transformation and modernization of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We all recognize that a transformed and modern JCF is essential in tackling the challenges associated with ensuring public safety and citizen security.
The modern fit-for-purpose three-story building for the St. Catherine North Police is to span approximately 43,000 square feet. This year's budgetary allocation is expected to bring the project to 30% completion. It's being executed under the Ministry of National Security's Project Rebuild, Overhaul and Construct ROC initiative. Meanwhile, construction of the new police divisional headquarters in Westmoreland is also to continue. As outlined in the 2025-2026 estimates of expenditure, the government has budgeted approximately $1 billion to carry out works on the facility, which is located in Landilo, Savannah Lamar. Ground was broken for the facility in April 2024, and the project is anticipated to reach 50% during the new fiscal year, with completion set for March 2027. It's being financed by the government and implemented by the Ministry of National Security. The three-story building, spanning nearly 65,000 square feet, is designed to accommodate specialized units and coordinate operations across the 11 police stations in Westmoreland. The new headquarters will further integrate state-of-the-art security technologies in alignment with e-policing initiatives. It is also expected to facilitate improved response times and interactions with citizens, as well as enhance police presence in the division to promote public order. And finally, come April, the judiciary is to introduce digital recording of criminal proceedings in the country's trial courts. Chief Justice Brian Sykes says this will lead to transcripts from court trials being produced in less time, improving efficiency and the timely delivery of judgments.
Our two main trial courts are the Supreme Court and what we now call the parish courts. The record coming from those courts, particularly the parish courts, are handwritten, where the judge writes longhand all the testimony of the witnesses, and then in the event of a conviction and the defendant wishes to appeal, then those notes would have to be typed, then checked, and then transmitted to the Court of Appeal. That, as you can imagine, is a laborious process.
He says the judiciary is currently working with international partners to outfit and prepare courtrooms over time to facilitate the digital recordings. The Chief Justice adds that appropriate measures will be put in place to ensure the security and integrity of court recordings.
We will have an on-site and off-site recording, so you have what is on-site there, and then you have a backup somewhere else that you can access in the event that it becomes necessary.
The recruitment and the training of officers who will operate and interface with the new technology is underway and is expected to conclude before the new system comes on stream with the Easter term. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Children are the future, and that's one thing we can all agree on. So it's only right that we all make a conscious effort to protect them from the unexpected dangers of life, some of which are sadly inevitable. Up next, we'll examine the signs that one should look out for to spot a child being abused.
In a society that values the safety and well-being of our children, it is crucial to be able to recognize the signs of child abuse. Child abuse is any act or failure to act on the part of a parent or caretaker which results in death, serious physical or emotional harm to a child. Abuses against children include physical, emotional, and sexual harm and neglect. Child abuse can sometimes go unrecognized. Today, we will discuss the warning signs and the significance of establishing safe spaces where children can seek assistance.
You'll see a change in the child's behavior. Be it their sleeping pattern may change, their eating patterns may change, how they express themselves will change. You will also note that sometimes because they're not able to express in words what is happening to them, they will act out. So a child who is normally very mild-mannered and that sort of thing can become very aggressive, as well as a child who is normally very outspoken can become very withdrawn. You will also see, especially in younger children, age-inappropriate behavior. So something that you would not expect a 5 or a 6-year-old to have knowledge of. Based on their actions or based on some things that they're saying, you're recognizing that this child has, a heightened sexual knowledge then, so to speak, to put it in that regard.
How can we ensure that children feel comfortable enough to speak out about any abuse they may be facing? The experts say it's vital to establish environments that make them feel safe and cared for.
We always encourage persons, parents especially, be attentive to your children, right? When you notice something different with your child, explore and probe it. One of the things is that some children are very afraid, not only to express what is happening to them, but to tell those who are around them and those who they should feel safe enough talking to. So we encourage persons to provide safe environments for the children, encourage the children to be open to talk.
Parents and guardians can create safe spaces in their homes by establishing open communication. Encourage your children to express their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. Listen actively and validate their emotions even if you don't agree with them. Establish trust by being reliable and consistent in your actions. When children feel they can trust their parents, they are more likely to open up and seek support when needed. Set clear boundaries to help children feel secure. Explain rules and consequences calmly and consistently, and enforce them with empathy. Approaching the child must be done with care, ensuring they trust the person they confide in.
Once that is there, the child is likely to open up. So if it could even be the parent and the child is not opening up to the parent. It could be that there's a teacher that the child will speak with, right? The important thing is getting the child to open up, and they're not going to do that if they don't trust the person or if they don't feel safe and comfortable in their environment.
The concept is being applied to child-friendly spaces set up by the government for young victims.
But the idea behind the spaces is to, instead of a child coming into our office and doing counseling or getting emotional support, yes, in a very comfortable environment, we have created child-friendly spaces of a room that is outfitted to provide comfort to a child, to help the child to relax. So even the very furniture in the room is the size of a child in some instances. We also have very comfortable furniture. We have murals on the wall. We have various tools and toys that the child would feel comfortable interacting with. The very color of the room is of such that it provokes relaxation and comfort.
Parents and guardians are being urged to seek early intervention if their child or a child they know is being abused.
So I would say immediately, once you recognize that there is need or that there is trauma in this particular child, seek intervention. The help is there. Victim services is there, and our services are all free.
Let us work together towards creating a world where every child feels secure, supported, and heard.
Your creativity is your power. Don't let it be taken for granted. In this next feature, we dive into the importance of knowing your creative rights and how to protect your intellectual property in an ever-evolving world.
Intellectual property, IP, deals with the protection of legal rights for the original creations of the mind. This can range from the scientific, industrial, literary, artistic, musical, dramatic, or other fields. There are three major forms of protection for intellectual property: copyright, patents, and trademarks. In this feature, the focus will be on copyright and related rights. In Jamaica, there are two main pieces of legislation that govern the protection of copyrights in general: the Copyright Act and the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office Act. The Intellectual Property Office Act outlines the function of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office JIPO, the body responsible for ensuring that intellectual property rights (IPR) are protected. JIPO is tasked with ensuring the protection, administration, and enforcement of IPRs as a national economic growth and development responsibility. Let's learn how copyright helps to protect your creative works. Copyright is one of the more widely known terms associated with intellectual property rights. It covers the creators of works in the literary, artistic, musical, dramatic, and other design fields. Copyright makes it possible for these creators to have exclusive rights to use or authorize use of their work on agreed terms. A work is copyright protected automatically once created and must be original in nature. This principle was adopted from the International Copyright Convention, the Berne Convention for the Protection of Literary and Artistic Works, of which Jamaica is a party. Another important layer of copyright protection is using the copyright symbol to give an official notice of ownership of your work. This is done by using the copyright symbol, the date of creation, which is usually the year, plus your name or entity, followed by an optional notice such as all rights reserved. There are two main rights that are covered under copyright: economic rights and moral rights. Economic rights protect the financial value of the works and allow creators to earn from its use. Meanwhile, moral rights protect the right to the use of the work. They help to moderate the ways in which the work can be used and restrict revisions to a work. The length of time for copyright protection varies in different countries. Under the Berne Treaty, of which Jamaica is a party, along with another 180 countries, copyright holders will receive protection in these territories subjected to their national laws. In Jamaica, the protection for literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works lasts for the lifetime of the author, plus 95 years after his or her death. Copyright for sound recordings and films lasts for 95 years from the end of the year in which it was made available to the public. The protection for cable programs and broadcasts lasts for 95 years from the end of the year when the program was included in a cable program service or the broadcast was made. The protection for typographic arrangement, such as books, lasts for 50 years from the year in which the edition was first published. All works enter the public domain once copyright ends, and are therefore no longer protected under intellectual property rights law. Musicians, actors performing a play, and a publishing or distribution company do have a say when it comes to the recognition of their rights too. Though they are not the authors of the work, they have neighboring rights or related rights. Related rights protect the legal interests of persons or entities who have contributed to the recording or creation of the work available to the public. Three categories of people are normally recognized for related rights: performers, producers of sound recordings, and broadcasting companies. They receive the recognition of a copyright-like property right protection for their participation in creating the work. Jamaica is a land known for its creative output, ranging from reggae music to art pieces.
Songwriters and musicians need to protect their intellectual property. Our songwriters, musicians must recognize the value of their intellectual property, must learn how to harness it for their wealth and the wealth and benefit of the nation, and yes, must take steps to protect their intellectual property in their own effort to secure your own future.
Section 31 of the Copyright Act of Jamaica states that copyright is infringed by any person who, without a license, the copyright owner does in relation to that work any of the acts that the copyright owner has the exclusive right to do pursuant to Section 9. The Section 9 rights, which is to copy the work, issue the work to the public, distribute the work, make an adaptation of the work, make the work available on demand, which is to make the work available on the internet. So anyone who infringes the copyright in a work can be penalized by way of a fine, depending on the jurisdiction of the court, or even imprisonment. Before 2015, people would constantly call to ask, how do I protect my copyright in a work? And the answer would be copyright protection arises automatically. And people would be like, and that's it. So we live in a society that we like to have something in our hands. And so in 2015, in response to the general public inquiries, and we have the voluntary copyright register, which an individual can deposit with us, a minimal fee, so creators can utilize this register and deposit their work. And they'll receive a certificate upon completing the application process, and this certificate can be used as supporting evidence in court should the work be infringed.
Collective management organizations, CMOs, are entities that enable rights holders to manage their rights and the use of their work. They act as agents for copyright holders collecting royalties, which is monies for the use of their work. They do this by issuing licenses for a fee to use protected works. They also track the use of works and request payment for its use. There are 3 active CMOs in Jamaica: Jamaica Music Society Jams, Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers JCAP, and the Jamaica Copyright Licensing Agency Jam Copy. Let's learn how the CMOs in Jamaica support our local creatives. The Jamaica Music Society JAMS is an organization that represents sound recording copyright holders, which includes record producers and record labels.
Now that you have produced the recording, you're now going to release the recording. And so you have the right to distribute. So he now finds a digital distributor or a traditional distributor, and he gets the work out. It gets placed on all the retail platforms, Spotify, etc., Rhapsody, it's all of the retail platforms online. And if he's still fortunate, maybe he can find one or two physical locations, stores, where he wants to put some copies in if he actually makes physical copies. So he has a right to distribute. And so he goes ahead and he does that. And from that distribution that he has taken on, he will then be entitled to a flow of royalties coming in through to him via the digital distributor or via the distributor, full stop. So Spotify will send the money to the distributor or through probably several different intermediaries in that process. And the distributor would then end up paying the producer his share or her share of monies from that sale.
The Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers JCAP is a membership society for composers, authors and music publishers, otherwise known as the primary rights holders.
So the most important thing in terms of earning in today's world is actually streaming, download. And we still deal with the analog side, which is public performance. So download has practically, I won't say eliminate, but has taken over from the selling of CDs. Public performance will remain because that's where we have mostly our live events. And to state that JCAP is able to collect on any form of music usage. So recorded music, live music, even music in comedy shows, etc. You do need a permit to be able to use the music.
The Jamaica Copyright Licensing Agency Jam Copy is the entity responsible for the protection of rights for published, printed and image-based works.
We follow the same cycle of activity as the other two CMOs. We obtain mandates, meaning that we go after the authors and publishers, that they come to us and they give us the authorization to act on their behalf. We then license the users, and our users are UWI, UTech, Edna Manley, Shortwood Teachers College, all of the public primary and secondary schools under the Ministry of Education. So just about 95% of all the educational institutions in Jamaica. We then collect the licenses and then we distribute them as royalties.
It's important to learn and understand the value of protecting your creative work. Contact a CMO to learn more and get started.
We're at the end of today's show, but be sure to join us again tomorrow for another lineup geared towards providing you with information on the government's policies and initiatives for building a better Jamaica. You may visit our website, jis.gov.jm, to rewatch this show or to catch up on the others we have on the site. I'm Theodore Henry telling you thanks for watching from our production team here at the JIS.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.